The USS Theodore Roosevelt aircraft carrier just received deployment orders that will reshape the entire Middle East. An Iranian missile strike on an American oil tanker triggered an immediate response. And what's happening right now isn't just a show of force. This is the beginning of something much bigger. The moment that strike order reached the carrier, everything changed. Sailors assigned to the Roosevelt were already at combat readiness, but this wasn't a drill. They grabbed their gear, formed up fast, and started boarding through the gangways. These troops weren't just heading to the carrier itself, they'd be distributed across escort cruisers, the ones tasked with protecting oil tankers moving through the Strait of Hormuz. Iranian missiles had just proven they could reach those tankers. That couldn't happen again. Dockside, mooring lines came off the bollards one after another. The massive cargo ramp on the hull's side lifted and locked shut. Below deck, soldiers moved like clockwork, sorting ammunition, rations, equipment, sliding crates into their designated compartments. Every movement had purpose, no wasted motion. In the anchor room, sailors hauled in heavy chains link by link, using the windlass to pull tons of steel back into the ship. They coiled mooring lines and stowed everything for open water. The chief petty officer overseeing the anchor detail reported to the bridge. Forward section secured. Ship ready to move. The bridge signaled the harbor tugboats. The carrier was cleared for departure. Tugs pushed and pulled that enormous hull away from the pier, guiding it carefully through the harbor channel. Once they reached open water, the tugs cast off. The Roosevelt moved under its own power now, cutting through the waves on a direct course toward the Middle East. Within hours, escort cruisers and destroyers slid into formation around the carrier. They took their assigned screening positions, creating a defensive perimeter. But defense wasn't their only mission. Every one of those ships carried enough firepower to flatten Iranian military installations if the order came through. And on the flight deck, something else was already beginning. Maintenance crews swarmed the jets, mounting air-to-air and air-to-ground missiles onto wing pylons. Each weapon locked into place. Electrical connections tested, arming pins inserted with red safety flags attached. Mechanics inspected every aircraft with precision. Panels opened, hydraulics checked, engine intakes cleared, landing gear examined. Avionics powered up and cycled through full diagnostic tests. On the runway section, F-35 Lightning II fighters went through pre-flight testing. Pilots sat in cockpits, running engines through power checks while ground crews monitored exhaust, listened to turbines, watched readings from the aircraft systems. Control surfaces deflected through their complete range. Radar systems activated and confirmed operational. Each F-35 that passed inspection got signed off and moved to standby position, ready for launch. Soldiers heading to the escort cruisers prepared for departure. Their V-22 Ospreys sat parked on the aft section. Rotors folded, ramps down. Troops moved fast, climbing ladderways from below deck, crossing the flight deck at a jog, filing into the Ospreys. They took seats, strapped in. Crew chiefs confirmed head count. Rotors unfolded. Engines started. The Ospreys lifted off one after another. Heading toward the cruisers where these soldiers would take up escort duties, protecting oil tanker convoys through the strait. On the forward catapults, fighter pilots strapped in and ran through final checklists. The engines. Pilots pushed to full military power. One by one, catapults fired. Fighters shot off the bow. F/A-18, Super Hornets and F-35s climbed steeply, banking toward assigned headings. Each aircraft cleared the deck. The next one rolled into position. Launches continued in steady rhythm. This wasn't just deployment anymore. This was projection of power on a scale that would force Iran to recalculate every decision. The carrier group steamed east, and with every mile covered, the message became clearer. American interests in that region weren't negotiable. Maintenance crews worked through the night as the strike group cut through open ocean. Fighter aircraft lined the deck in neat rows, armed and fueled, waiting for coordinates. Below, in the Combat Information Center, radar operators tracked everything within 500 miles. Iranian patrol boats, coastal batteries, aircraft movements. Every piece of data fed into targeting computers. One of the Escort cruisers received new orders. Vertical launch system hatches opened along the forward deck. Tomahawk cruise missiles erupted from the cells, bursting upward in columns of flame and white smoke, before tipping over and accelerating toward the horizon. Each missile locked onto a different target. Iranian military installations, command centers, radar sites. The strikes weren't random, they were surgical. More fighters launched from the Roosevelt. The cycle never stopped. One aircraft catapulted off the bow. The next taxied into position. Catapult reset, launch again. The air wing fed into the fight as fast as deck crews could turn the catapults around. An FA-18 Super Hornet crossed into Iranian airspace. The pilot identified targets through the targeting pod. Military vehicles, equipment, positions lit up on the display. Target selected, locked, munition released. The bomb guided itself to coordinates and detonated precisely where intended. The pilot banked, acquired the next target, struck again. Methodical. One target after another. The carrier group wasn't retreating, it was advancing. And Iran now understood exactly what American resolve looked like when tested. The strait would remain open. The tankers would move freely. That was the only outcome Washington would accept.